Hey family, we are live, broadcasting live. This is the Conversation Room 101. Make sure it's only adults in the house. I need your mind to be open, prepared, and relaxed. Welcome to our home. Take your shoes off. We got some rules we need to go over. Be kind. No cursing in the chat. If you want to curse, call in. And no shouting out other channels. That's a no-no. We got one other rule. There is no judging our guests. It will not be permitted. Zero tolerance. And if so, you want to do that, guess what? We got security. And we will escort you out. Because over here, hashtag we don't care. We're going to be one big family. We're going to laugh together sometimes. We're going to cry. But we definitely going to pray. I thank the Lord above for everything. I lift him up and give him the glory. But you guys, right now, we're going to get our popcorn. And then we're going to see what's going on. And let me just park my car. And I'll be in there in a minute. I'll see you real soon.
The Copyright Disclaimer Act. The Copyright Disclaimer Act under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news, reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Do you want to know? Well, I've been thinking about you, and I think I have to listen, because the sun is up, it's a beautiful day. My beginning will be
along
as
the
bright
Tom
as
has
the
been missing
sun.
in Savannah.
And as you come around, and it feels so right, it's like luck is raining on me. Go and follow your heart, doesn't matter how far. There is so much love to give, something's telling me this time. Baby, baby, now I know. Baby, baby, gotta go. There is so much love to give, something's telling me it's right. When you came to me, oh, I knew it's you, yeah, boy.
Where is Cody?
Hey family, how is everybody doing? Thank you guys for showing up. I do believe I've got the three. Let me make sure that you guys are in the building. It would be Sanjay, Tina Powers, and Lisa Taylor. If all three is in the building, please put a 1 in the chat. Let me know that you're here. Those are the three, and if all three is not here, Freddie is the next person. So I need to see that number 1 in the chat, and you guys can get your free ticket. I see Sanjay is in there, Lisa Taylor. I don't see Tina Powers that done said something. She came in, but you guys know how you guys do. Sometimes you come in and you leave, and I'll be like, oh, okay, well, okay. So we're waiting for that, you know? And I know sometimes some people is at work, but I give you a chance to put it in there. But I don't see the number 1. We'll give it some time because at some times it takes a while. I don't see Tina Powers in there. Is Freddie in the building? She said Freddie is here. So Freddie put a 1 in the chat. We've already asked for Tina. Tina still have not put 1 in the chat. And that settles that. So anyway, you guys. Okay, we got you in there. Okay. Anyway, you guys, I wanted to share with you something that I don't think you guys knew. Okay? I don't think you guys knew something about the Naziah Harris case. We were all concentrating on the Naziah Harris case, and they did come out with the transcript. And I listened to the transcript, and Tina, why you didn't put a 1 in the chat when I asked you to put a 1 in the chat? You doing everything, but you didn't put the 1 in the chat. She's saying hi to Zena now. Anyway, we're over that. You're going to have to go back and listen to what I just said because I think you missed it. I think you missed it, sweetheart. But anywho's, the Naziah Harris case, I want to share something with you guys. I know you guys did not know. They did come out with the transcript with what Brooklyn said in court that we did not get to hear. And if you guys, I know, I'm not going to share it because the simple fact, it is a little girl. And she's like 9, 10, 11 years of age. She's very young. I think she's like 11. And at 11, that's when they shut down the courtroom and they let the kids that has been somewhat of a victim share what they know. And, they first asked her, what was her name? They swore her in. I'll just share it with you guys because, that's a kid. You know what I'm saying? And after they swore her in, she knew how to spell her name. She knew, what her name was. They asked her, did she know what right from wrong is, what was right and what was wrong, and how do you know what a lie is? And she knew the difference from the lie and the truth. And they asked her a question like, if it snowed right now in this room, would that be the truth or lie? And she said that would be a lie because it's not snowing in the courtroom. And then they asked her another question and she was able to identify that. Then they went on to ask her questions about what had happened, or what all do she know. And she went into full detail telling them that Jarvis was supposed to take them to the store. Remember I told you guys that? Jarvis was supposed to take them to the store. And instead of taking them to the store, he took them. And she went on to say who all was there. She said Naziah was there, Janiah was there, and she was there. And they seen Naziah and Jarvis having sex. And then they wanted her to explain to them, to identify what she calls sex. And she told them that, when, they touch, when they touch each other, and that he put his private part in her private part. And they was like, well, what do you call a private part? And she told him, the private part where you go use the bathroom. So this girl knows the difference from right and wrong. She knows what, you're not supposed to share with other people. And you got to remember, Brooklyn is Marquita's daughter. Okay? Brooklyn is Marquita's daughter. You guys understand that, right? So she tells them that he put the part that he goes to the bathroom and he pees out of. And they said, okay, so we do now know she was talking about his genitals, right? His genital. And they asked her, where did he put it at? And she told them he put his private part that he pees out of into Naziah's butthole. Okay. She said right then she didn't. Yeah, her response was very clear. She knew what was what. She knew what she was talking about. There is no, thinking that this girl's making this up. There's no thinking about that. Okay. Now, she also told them that it happened again and again. I think it happened 3 times, she said. The second time, she said she was standing right there, and Janiyah, being Jarvis's daughter, was standing right next to her. She also said that Jarvis and Janiyah done it also. They had sex. So Jarvis actually done had sex with his own young daughter. I'm not even talking about the oldest daughter yet, you guys. I'm talking about the young one. Okay? And it was very disturbing for me to read the transcript. It was very, very disturbing. What I got a problem with and had a problem with, because, I said this at the beginning, when he was taking kids to the store and offering them money and the grown-ups was allowing him to take them to the store, take the kids to the store, and they sitting there talking about he's working for them, and and they're like, oh, he's never in the house, no, she runs a tight ship, and he's just not in the house like that. It's all a lie. And we know it's a lie. They know it's a lie. It's embarrassing. Freddie said incest is a crime. You can go to jail for this. Girl, he's in jail for that. He's in jail. He's not really, like, you got to think, like, the title of this live today is the Naziah Harris case, why they didn't really search for her. Okay? Well, I wanted to share some of the details of what's coming out. If you guys didn't hear, or there's a couple of channels that are reading the transcript. I'm not going to do that. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. If that's, if you can stand, it's a trigger for me. You know what I'm saying? I almost can't even get out of bed if I read it to you and then we go into depth. I almost cannot get out of bed because I will be just moping and sad. And it is for him to have sex with these young girls and his own daughter I can't even express, like, the details that I can't even express, even right now, how I feel. I literally had to leave the house today and just get away because I started thinking about it. It is very sickening. It is too sickening. It'll make you drink. It'll make you smoke. It'll make you just get mad at the world. It'll make you go gamble. It's just, you're mad and there's nothing you can do about it. You're just mad, and it ain't even your child. You're not even kin, but it's just so sad because these kids, I know, and I told you guys, there's no way in the world the adults did not know. Every last one of them. Annette, Shannon, Marquita. I don't even want to look at them. They knew. They still invited this man into the house and around the kids. They didn't stop it. They didn't prevent it. They didn't separate them. They knew. And so when we try to think about how Naziah thought and how she spoke to this grown man in text messages, That's all she knew. They accepted it as this is what you do. You know, if they didn't know the fine detail, one of those kids told, and I told you guys, you know what? He had got very comfortable when he went to the school. You know what? He should have been off the street a long time ago. You know, it was just a matter of time. They could have confronted him. They didn't even have to confront him. They knew. When they got caught at the school, when he was trying to go to the school and pick Naziah up, like he couldn't wait until she get home, or I mean, it wasn't no big deal. He could have waited. This man was so into the kids that he was taking chances of getting caught because he couldn't control his thinking. What he want, when he wanted, how he wanted. He was losing his mind of thinking the grown women wasn't really benefiting him. And you guys remember we had a young man in this chat, and he was saying, and I'm just saying, you guys, he was saying, oh, he loved Naziah. In his mind, he was falling in love with Naziah because he was not even irrational. Yeah, he was. He wasn't thinking like, you know, before he was still, you know, doing things, hiding it, you know, not just being flamboyant about it. You know, he might come, he might come over, then he might not, you know. But, you know, he got to thinking this girl telling him, you know, she needs this and he can have that, and showing her some attention. Exactly, Lisa Calhoun. He had no self-control anymore. So when she was like, you know, hey, you know, I'm getting out of school, you can come pick me up, he's like, yeah. And that's why I told you guys, King knew. King wasn't just on no ride to go get a part from AutoZone. King knew exactly, because with those kind of thoughts, and he just picking up kids and all this other stuff, and he had, this is previous, before he had his own shop where, you know, he can have them during the daytime, during the night. These kids knew exactly how to get to his shop. That means they've been there a lot. You don't get to know where a shop is being that young just because you've been there once. You've been there multiple times. But the reason why I decided to name this title of this chat, why they didn't really search for her. First of all, they were too late. And it's not Shannon's fault that they were late. Actually, what actually happened was, you know, when they was looking for Zion Foster, Roxy was outside the courthouse when they had just started looking for Zion. And you can hear Roxy outside the courthouse talking about, where is Naziah? Where is Naziah? Well, I ended up somehow, some way, looking at the whole trial of Zion Foster. If you guys have not looked at the trial of Zion Foster, where the cousin had took her, you know, she had went, well, he came over, picked her up, and took her out, and we never seen her after that. Okay. Well, then they picked up the cousin because he was like, you know. Anyway, he ended up telling them that he threw Zion in the trash, in the dumpster. Okay. They never did find Zion's body. They did charge the cousin and he was convicted. He was found guilty without a body. Shannon Jones, the same head detective that's over this case with Naziah case, was over that case. Now, the reason why sometimes I have to look at these other cases and figure out, okay, was she good? Did she make good moves? What happened? You know? Well, one reason why they did not look for Zion they did look for Zion in the trash landfill. I want you guys to know that. They didn't find her. They could not use dogs because you cannot use dogs in the landfill. It will kill your dog. You know, it's just too much chemicals and stuff. And when you have a dog that hits on human remains, you've got a whole bunch of stuff in that dumpster in the landfill where you got women that's on their periods, that's in the trash. You've got molded food and stuff that's in the trash. Just all kind of trash, and it builds up chemicals that will kill your dog. You know what I'm saying? So you really can't use a dog in a landfill. You would have to go in there piece by piece. Well, so I was watching the Zion Foster case. Shannon Jones was on the stand, and Shannon Jones said this, you guys. I want you guys to know. Shannon Jones said she did not plan or send out the people to go search in the landfill because she's never done that before, and she wouldn't even know how to start to do that. I thought to myself, oh my God, oh my goodness, because she's never had them to search a landfill before. So she wouldn't even know how to go and orchestrate it to get it up and going and whatever. And I thought to myself, okay, if Jarvis put this young lady in the dumpster at the at the motel or anywhere in Ypsilanti, they're never going to find her. Why? Because Shannon Jones do not know how to orchestrate a search for the landing field, And I'm going to tell you guys something. Remember when they were looking for, they wasn't looking for Cody. They was looking for the little boy. I can't remember his name. They found him. What was the little boy when Lalani's child, remember she threw that child in the dumpster and they had to go in the landing field. Had not they went in the landing field, they wouldn't have never found, what was his name? I think it started with a C. Oh, that was a pretty little boy. What was his name with his cute self? This cutie. Leilani's son name was what? Simon. Quentin Simon. Leilani's son name was Quentin Simon. He was 20 months at the time of his death. Leilani was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison for his murder. Leilani was sentenced to life. She can sit there and cry all she wants. She said, I forgot the name. But girl, it's a whole bunch of kids. But it was Quentin. It was Quentin Simon. Tina Power said Quentin Simon. She ran in there and got it, Quentin. Exactly. You guys, you see how many kids that come up? And they found Quentin in the in the same place, waste management, landfill. Hip hop and history. Thank you for becoming a new member. Thank you for that, being a member. We're gonna praise that. Thank you very much, hip hop and history. So you guys, I just don't understand. When they was looking for Zion, they did not look in the landing field. And that's because, Shannon Jones did not know how to like I said, orchestrate the search for the landing field. But here's the thing. The good thing about this whole situation, and I wanted to share this with you guys. We just came on here just for a little bit. I wanted to share this with you. Even though that they did not find Zion, she said, I might as well pay rent. Okay. She said, hip hop in history. She said, I'm here enough. I'm going to tell you guys something. They got a conviction out of, let me see, Zion Foster trial. The guy name was Jalen, right? And let's see, I'm pretty sure week 2 of the murder trial, Foster focused on the technique, but Zion came up missing January the 4th, 2022. Her cousin Braylon confirmed to be the last person to see her alive. There was a confession tape played in Zion Foster's case. There was a confession tape, okay? They talked about the opening statements and third day. Trial began in Detroit. This was going on the same time that when they started going to trial just last year. And they found they found Jalen guilty. Yeah, Jalen was guilty. They found Jalen guilty. Here it says right here, Jalen was convicted on all charges. He was convicted. Let me read it to you guys. I don't want to see the video. I want to see the news. He dumped her like she was a piece of garbage. Cousin found guilty. Here it is right here. Oh, that was a pretty girl. But I can't hardly even read it, but I'll try. They found, let me see. I don't want a video. You're okay. They found her charged, but
all right, now to week 2 in the trial of Jalen Brazier. Today, prosecutors continue to put their focus on technical evidence in this case.
And that technical evidence is considered a key part of the trial since Foster's body has never been found. Let's get out to Sean Legge. He's live for us tonight. Sean, we're talking about shreds of evidence here.
Shreds of evidence that prosecutors and these investigators have to go over bit by bit and piece by piece. So it can at times be slow, but I just caught up with Zion Foster's mother, who says today was an extremely difficult day in this trial for a number of reasons. Also, a very important question was brought up today to an investigator with Detroit police. Why police took so long to search a landfill for Zion Foster's body.
Listen.
This trial is technical so far, not emotional, except for the defendant, Jalen Brazier himself, breaking down at times. Technical because without a body, Wayne County prosecutors have to build their case and rely on the expert testimony of police investigators on what type of forensic evidence they found that might prove Brazier killed his 17-year-old cousin. On the stand today, Detroit police investigator Shannon Jones, an ultra-professional who headed up the massive, difficult search in a Macomb County landfill for Zion's remains after Brazier said she just died on his couch and he dumped her body in a dumpster. But I noticed there was emotion with that search. Sergeant Jones keeping Zion's memory front and center by hanging a poster made by Zion's mom at the search entrance that investigators would see every difficult day.
This is my baby.
However, Zion's mom has always been critical that Detroit police waited months before searching the landfill, despite Brazier telling police that he put Zion's body in a dumpster in Highland Park. Jones was asked that key question in court today, what took them so long.
We had several days where we had to go out there to get an understanding. I've never worked in a landfill, so you have to learn that process. You also have to order all this different equipment and get all the heavy machinery. It's not something that I can just go tomorrow and get for such a massive search.
That's the answer to...
See, you guys? That's the same Shannon Jones that is over this case with Naziah. She's never... She did do it in this case, but it took a long time. And in the Naziah Harris case, they didn't at all because, you know, she didn't have any evidence or anybody saying that they put her in a dumpster. So they didn't check the linen fields at all in the Naziah Harris case at all. You guys understand what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure, even though that they did do it in the Zion Foster case, they didn't find her. And when I went and I listened to the people that handled the dogs, they were saying they couldn't bring the dogs in because it will destroy the dog. And the dogs will get sick and throw up and have side effects and things like that. So it was, you know, you got to comb through that stuff. And it's a lot. It's a lot. It just is a lot, you guys. But I wanted you guys, and that was just, thank God I found it like that because I didn't save it. But Zion said that she died on his couch and he didn't know what to do. And so he took her and put her in a dumpster. She just died on the couch. No apparent reason. She just died. And she could have. He could have laced her stuff with, or somebody that sold them some weed could have laced it with some fentanyl and it could have happened, you know. He didn't actually do it himself, but getting high with her, you know. They said they played the confession tape in court. I didn't hear the confession tape. Let me see if they got
Day 2 of the murder trial tied to the disappearance of an East Point teenager, bringing new revelations to the courtroom. We appreciate you staying with us. I'm Glenda Lewis.
And I'm Brian Abel. Testimony continuing today against Jalen Brazier. He's charged with second-degree murder and tampering with evidence in connection to the death of his step-cousin, Zion Foster.
7 News Detroit reporter Darren Cunningham spoke to the victim's mother just a short time ago.
The prosecution played Jalen Brazier's confession tape, the admission he made to Detroit and East Point police, saying he dumped Zion Foster's body. I spoke with Zion's mother immediately afterwards.
It is utterly enraging.
Sierra Milton, Zion Foster's mother, watched the confession tape for the first time. Jalen Brazier told Detective Zion his step-cousin became unresponsive after they smoked marijuana at his home for about an hour.
I freaked out. So what I did, I took her. After that, I waited like 10 more minutes. And it was still, it's like, it sounded like it was maybe more came over. I don't know took her to Highland Park and put her inside of a trash can, and then I left.
This interview took place January 19th, 2022, 15 days after Zion's disappearance, the night she hung out with Brazier. In the 2 weeks leading up to the confession, investigators say Brazier changed his story, at one point claiming he hadn't seen Zion in a long while.
And it's been just so many inconsistencies that, again, hopefully, the end point of this is that they will see those inconsistencies, see through the lies, and see the truth. That he murdered my daughter, and he disposed of her with absolute disregard for her life.
Day 3 of testimony resumes in the morning, and we will be there. In Detroit, Darren.
Wow. I tell you guys, people, when they go to court and they have all of these. Oh, I needed to share with you guys this. If you did not know that Jarvis had court on June the 10th, and he will have court in 2 more days on June the 20th. If you guys did not know that, it came up on my calendar that Jarvis will be in court. Jarvis Butts. He will be in court in 2 days. Okay? I don't know if you guys know, they're not going to have it. They're not going to, TV is not going to be there or anything of that nature. But it is what it is. Hey, Sugar Mama, thank you for the super chat. Let me put you down in here. So, Sugar Mama, I got you on there. Thank you for the super chat. Let's give yourself your super chat dance. She wants that twerking chicken.
Dropping them but golden nuggets.
SP News Nuggets. And you guys, we're going to have a lovely time. And if we don't, oh well. Here we go.
I'm known to throw shade.
Naziah Robinson died as the result of a spinal injury.
Well, they told us it was alcohol poisoning.
Go and terrorize black and brown communities.
Tell me the truth. I want you to get mad. I won't get mad.
Are you sure you ain't gonna get mad?
I'm not gonna get mad. Just tell me if you slept with her, yes, I won't
Are
get
you
mad.
sure you ain't gonna get
I
mad?
won't get mad.
Alright, well, I slept with her.
Come on.
That's Diesel pushing me down the street. Come back here. Thank you, Sugar Mama, for the super chat. She is off in the building. You guys, I'm gonna tell you guys something. And it's just the honest to God truth. Sometimes when Freddie said Pooh Bear, Pooh Bear is in the building. You would be so proud of Pooh Bear right now. He done got big and huge. And, we got storms down here right now. And so their electricity was out for 2 days. So Pooh Bear was with his mom and his dad, and they were sitting in the car. And they were just kind of waiting for the lights to come back on. They said that they were going to come back on in like an hour or so. And Pooh Bear was ready to go in the house. And he was like, I'm tired of this. It's hot. I'm tired. And I almost told them to bring Pooh Bear over here for right now. He can come over here. But I thought they just kind of want to. Pooh Bear's got a birthday coming up. And so Pooh Bear likes the real steel figurines or the little bitty toys, And so I got him a set of 8 that's coming. It should be here on the 28th. I think his birthday's the 29th. And so anyway, Pooh Bear told his mom and his dad that yeah, he will be in court on Friday. And so Pooh Bear told his mom and dad he just gonna pray to God that the lights come on. And it was like 12:45, right after midnight. And he prayed and he prayed and the lights came on. And he was like, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Oh, yes, Lord, you answered my prayer. I knew you was going to answer my prayer, Lord. The lights came on just because I prayed and everything." He was like, "Come on, mama. Come on, daddy. We going back in the house. We got lights." And they was like, that boy is something. But I thank God that, the lights came on, and the first thing he was like, he's letting them know, I'm big enough to pray. I know what to do when I get in a bad situation. We're going to pray this in and pray this out. And she said, "So give Tina a ticket, please." Okay, I'll put that on the list. Let me see here. Girl, you keep giving Tina the ticket. Tina gonna win. Okay, so give Tina a ticket. Okay, times 2. Give Tina another ticket. Okay, I got Tina's name down there. She said, "I don't care because Tina be sharing." So I got Tina's name down there. You want her to have another ticket. Okay. So we got you in there, Sugar Mama. I put Tina's name down again. Y'all, that is Sharon. Sharon is Karen. So, yeah, because Tina missed that one ticket when I told everybody to come in the building and put the ones up. She waited until I gave her time, and yep, that's what happened. But she got it back. She said, "Shoot, she getting there." Anyway, you guys, let me get in the building. Let me get in the building. So, anywho, life goes on. She said, "That's good. Sharon is Karen." It is. It is. So, anywho, I just wanted you guys to know that, yes, he's got court coming up, and it is on all charges. I don't know what they're going to do in court. It just told me. Let me see. Let me see if it tells us. It doesn't say what they're going to do. Maybe let me see here. The charges is all the charges, even the new charges. It's going to be somewhat of the new charges of not just Naziah charges, but these other females that came in and said that he touched, me too. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but Brooklyn said that one time he actually only took her by herself to that tire and oil shop that was red and yellow and white, and try to tell her to come on, and she said no. She said no. So I'm gonna say this, you guys, and I want you guys to know that sometimes you can hear what a little girl say and say, "Well, thank God he didn't touch her." I honestly believe he did. That's just me. The reason why I say he did is because She said she went because she wanted snacks. And giving her snacks or money or something is something that he was doing. And sometimes a little girl being embarrassed and, will tell enough to get a person in trouble, but won't tell the whole truth, because they don't want people to make fun of them, because they know that other people's going to learn about them. You know what I'm saying? When you're that young, I just believe that, I'm just saying, you guys, I don't need no evidence when you can tell me that you watched and you seen him put his pee-pee in your cousin's thing, and not only that, you seen him with his own daughter, and then you still went with him by yourself. Yeah, I believe that he has something to do with Brooklyn too. So when Marquita talking about we didn't know what was going on, and I didn't know what my sister was doing, and then she going on people's paneling, going on people's paneling, talking about her boy. The last thing you need to be worried about is a boyfriend. Damn, your child. You don't even. And see, I try to tell you guys something. I'm gonna say this. With all Shannon kids gone, CPS got Shannon's kids, and then she went and handed her kids to this baby father and handed the kids to that baby father. That tells me not only you were in the courtroom and you heard what was said, but you knew. You knew. You know what I'm saying? Because if I really believe my child wasn't touched, it's late now. You should have been handing them kids to the baby father to get them away from anything that if they came up to you and said something. You know what I'm saying? Whether you believe it or not, just take them out the equation. You know what I'm saying? You still their mama, but you got to make sure it ain't continuing to happen. Protect them. Maybe Marquita did not know, but she was told. And let me tell you guys something. And I'm just keeping it real. When them cousins called CPS because they had heard something happen at a birthday party, and then you see Jarvis at a birthday party and Annette talking about why you didn't come to this birthday party and you're a part of the family and da-da-da-da-da. I don't see nobody that was really protecting these kids. You make a report and you stay on it. That settles that. Exactly. Lisa Calhoun said that was the norm. And you know what? Every time when I think about this child and what she was going through, you remember when Naziah told Jarvis, I'm never going to get out of this hellhole. Hold on. She said those words to Jarvis. That tells me the adults knew. Because what is so bad about living with Annette? Come on, you guys, tell me. What's so bad about living with a net? Going to school, coming home, going to school, coming home. What's so bad about living with a net? You got a roof over your head. You got food in the kitchen. What, you got to watch your nieces and nephews or cousins or what? What is so bad that she calls a hellhole? Come on. Because see, when a child tells me that they're in a hellhole that they don't see themselves ever getting out of, that tells me that something is wrong and those adults know about it. Because you got to listen to them kids. Hip hop says this case really lets me know how blessed I am to have the family that I have. These people are foul. Exactly. And you know what, hip hop? I'm going to tell you something. There's girls all over the world that has been through this. Grown adults now. And they think they had it bad. I mean, yeah. You were touched or whatever. Something happened. But guess what? They didn't kill you. You know? And you didn't have all these adults running around, you know? But Naziah, she knew this was, you know, she didn't want to be raised like this. But she's a child. She can't make the decision. You know, you got those supposed to be grown women. And you know what? It's so embarrassing. Grown black women sitting around in front of all those kids, cussing, drinking, smoking, and having sex. And they're letting them kids think that this is what it's about. And they got it going on. They got it going on. So the kids grow up thinking, well, if you can get $1 from them, how you get $1 from them and I can't get $1 from them. So I'm gonna sit on his lap and get $1 from him and let him run his hand up in my dress or skirt or something. He wants me to suck this, or I'll suck that, and now he's giving me money. And I'm gonna tell you something. I believe they let him do that to keep him around. He wasn't in love with Shannon. He told the one girl, you new to this. Shannon's around, got kids that he can. So, she got this good looking man hanging around her. And if he wasn't getting along with Shannon, there's no reason for him to be coming over there. Well, he wasn't going to come over there just because he got kids. He got kids all over the world. He got 18, 17, 20 kids. So why was he coming over there picking up Shannon's kids? Because he was doing stuff with them. You guys, I'm going to tell you something. Because at first, she say, SP, you hit the nail on the head. At first, let me share something with you. And I'm not saying that it's okay. But a black woman seduced Jarvis. And Jarvis thought that it's okay. A woman had sex with me and taught me what sex was all about. So he wanted to be the man that initiated and influenced and introduced sex to everybody else. Yeah, I believe the boys was in on it too, because he liked it in the butt. So the boys, I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people don't say too much about boys because, that'll run a boy quick. But I'm going to tell you, I don't think he was just anywhere he can get to be over a person sexually, he was going to be around that person. You got Naziah's brother. You guys, Naziah's brother done came on and, and been on the internet and said he didn't know this and he didn't know that and da-da-da-da-da. I doubt it. I doubt it. I think every last one of those kids been messed with. Even Jarvis or whatever his name is, Vari or whatever. Because when he's talking, his eyes is all big and, and it seems like when he's talking, he don't want you to ask questions about his grandmother and his grandmother. She said, I wonder, was he done that way himself growing up? Yeah, that's why that baby ran away from home. Why would you run away? See what I'm saying? Why would you run away from home? Why? You wasn't getting beat. The kids was not getting beat. They had food. Why would you run away? Why? You ain't got to run away. If you came in late, you came in late. If you got on punishment and they told you to stay in the house, you stayed in the house. So what? Everybody in the house, you always got somebody to play with. You know what I'm saying? And they don't want all of it to come out. But I tell you what, because you're tired of being misused. Being misused, exactly. But guess what? What else is it? Y'all think about it. I'm going to tell you right now. When you got a roof over your head, you go to school, you come home, you got to watch your cousins or whatever, whether you watch them or not, that ain't a good reason to run away. That's not a good reason to, you know what I'm saying? Whether you got the mindset of a 10-year-old or a 20-year-old or a 15-year-old, running away is like to run where? What do you want to do that you want to run to? You want to run when you got running away on your mind is because you're sick and tired of being misused, treated bad, beat, sexually, mentally, physically down. When she said, I'm never going to get out of this hellhole, she was fighting for her life, trying to figure out who could take her out of this revolving door. Who? Without tearing up her life. Well, the only grown-up that was coming over, making sure she had a phone, that was saying that she was cute, she was pretty, making her feel wanted and loved. That's what she thought love was Jarvis. Jarvis did not like her brother. Y'all, you know what? I look at it like this. Hey, woke to God, how you do? He was scared and tired of Jarvis. Yeah, I look at it like this. You know what? We all go through things in life. And as kids, we went through a lot of stuff. Libby says, I don't think he hit her on the head. I don't know, Libby. I don't think Jarvis was trying to get rid of her. And I just believe more people are involved in trying to get rid of the baby. And it backfired. Because I don't think Jarvis was scared of getting caught about having sex with these kids. Remember, he went to the school. And not just one child knew, all the kids knew. All the kids knew. So he wasn't worried about who knew and who didn't know. I think Jarvis thought, once he turned himself in on the little gun charge, all that other stuff was going to fade away because Naziah was already missing before he went into jail. But Naziah went missing on the day you were supposed to turn yourself in. Yeah. And then other kids spoke up. And I'm going to tell y'all this. Whether you believe it or not, this is me. This is what I believe. And nothing can change my thinking unless somebody came out and said what it was. She said accidental death could have happened. Yeah, you're right. I believe, and I'm just saying this, and I said it once before, there's other people involved, like King. I try to give the sister the benefit of the doubt, but it just amazes me how she parked the car, but she didn't see her face. And then, it amazes me. It really do. It amazes me how she parked the car. Like, I normally park my car across the front entrance of my house when I'm trying to carry something in. I don't want people to see or whatever. But a business, I don't know. And you were there for 2.5 hours. I don't know. And as soon as you left, they had to Islani. I just don't get it. And, you're on the stand saying what your brother has done and you're crying about it. And I get that. I understand. She's, but you're not saying that the child was deceased or dead. You're saying that you've seen this child. Well, King already said he's seen the child. So you better say that you've seen the child because you were there. And if you didn't, they're gonna put you in the equation too. But if you knew that King told them that because how do you know? You went up there after King got out of jail and you didn't call King, but you asked King, hey, I didn't see no other kids except my nieces there. You didn't even say the nephews, but you only seen your nieces there, but that one little girl that one day. I believe you wanted to know, what did King say? Or did King say anything? I believe that. Like at first I was thinking she did a good deed because she didn't have to call and tell the police she was there. But King would have probably told them that she was there. So, of course, you waited 10 days after you talked to King, and then you called Shannon Jones and said you were there that day. You think you were there that day. You guys, I hate to say that. I really do. Because I want to believe Jarvis's sister was only doing the right thing. I do. I want to believe that. But I'm going to say this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I don't care if everybody get mad at me or what. If this was my child, I could not believe that you were just doing the right thing. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. You know why I couldn't believe it? Because when you knew that King, when they picked up King on the 13th, and Valentine's Day was the next day, and King got home the next day after that, and you went to go see King. You didn't call him. You went to go see King. So, and King said, that was Naziah? That's what King told you. That was Naziah? You should have contacted the police right then and there. I'm just saying, you guys. I'm just saying. Me being a mother, and if you would have told me that you went and spoke to King and King said that was your daughter right there, I would have been mad to say, why in the hell you did not go back to the police and say, you know what, I was there. They could have been, but you waited. What did you wait for? Then she said she got a call from one of the mothers. And this was said and that was said or whatever. And then she called Shannon. This is 10 days later. This was like February the 26th, February the 27th. Remember, they picked up King right before Valentine's Day, the 13th. Y'all, you know, and she did say she already thought it in her mind. She said she already thought it in her mind. That could have changed everything. I'm just saying, it could have changed everything. So what she told them was she was parked like this. What she told them, the little girl was still alive. The girl went in the store. She was behind her. She never seen her face. What do you mean she never seen her face? You never seen her face? You're in a car. She's in Jarvis's truck. When they're there, it's like 4 o'clock. So it is still daytime. And you see this little girl jumping in, jumping out, jumping in, jumping out, jumping in, jumping out. Okay. And then you ask Jarvis whose child was that. And then Jarvis tell you that's King's niece. Okay, why she ain't jumping in and out King's car? Why is she jumping in and out of your car? I would have said, bro, tell that girl to get in her uncle's car and sit down somewhere. Why is she in your car? I would have told him, I'm out of here. You're going to jail. Y'all doing some stupid stuff. Whatever. Yeah, I would have been still minding my own business, but let me tell you guys something. It is, and I know it is hard to just assume the bad and just do the right thing. But when your heart and your mind is telling you something ain't right, something ain't right. Something had to tell her something ain't right for her to even ask the question. Whose child is that? Then you go on about your business. And then you find out that King got picked up. They picked him up at the shop. She's like, oh my goodness, they picked King up at the shop? Like, yeah, okay. Here's the thing. They picked King up at the shop. And King tells them, yeah, they were driving down the street, going back and forth to go pick up a starter, whatever it was, an alternator, whatever. Fuel pump. I can't remember what they were trying to put on a fuel pump. And They just so happened seeing Naziah, and you guys, two grown men in a truck. That's what I always see. I always want to make a post and we start two grown men in a truck. Lisa said a water pump. And he done Googled it to put on the water pump. They don't know if the water pump, the car came the morning, the car came in the evening. They just gonna put on this water pump. But she's there to get a car looked at. And she's letting it be known. He wasn't gonna work on my car. He was gonna look at my car. He's not working on my car. He's just looking at my car. 2.5 hours later, he looked at your car and said, well, this is wrong with it. That's wrong with it. Okay. And then you go. But remember, you parked right across from both of the open doors. Isn't that something? You parked right in front of the open door. What do you say, Esri? They could have shut down the doors. They could have shut down the doors and everything would have been fine. They could have backed the cars in, and if she was in there, you're right. But if this girl had taken something, ingested something, ate something, drunk something that inebriated her, made her not think right, maybe she would throwing up or not feeling well. Nobody, but not put your hands on her where she's emotionally distraught and she's still doing things, and she could be intoxicated, like, the sister could have been doing the right thing. I'm just saying, if I was the mother, yes, she was master _ she was blocking the business. That is very suspicious. Because if they wasn't really working on your car, you're blocking people from seeing that it's okay. It's a thing called sitting duck. There's a thing when you have a business, it's called setting duck. You guys may not know about it. I know all about it. It works. It works really good, especially when you have business outside. You at a flea market, or you're on the corner or something, or you have a food truck or whatever. A setting duck is called when, look it up. A setting duck is, you park a car like people are interested in what you got or what's going on. And then you come out, instead of sitting in the corner somewhere, you look at the sign, or you stand outside the business like you're just somebody that drove up, but you don't block the business. You don't block it where nobody can come in, and you make it seem like, you don't let someone block the doors of seeing what's going on. That would defeat the purpose. That's why you're on a main strip where everybody can see. So like I said, they need her testimony. She said in court, I love you. I don't think, it's because she really wanted to be there. She said she loved her brother. And I believe she does. But she made sure before she went and told them, I believe, because she said, well, I didn't really put two together or nothing like that. But I went and seen King, and King said that was Naziah. You think that was the end of the conversation? Okay, let's replay this a little bit. Yes, you parked the car, Sanjay. Yes, you park the cars around to attract business. It's called the sitting duck. It's called the sitting duck. Like business is like you got a business. You put two cars in there, like people are pulling in, and there's a real good deal going on. Or hey, they so busy, people love you so much, but you don't park across where people can't see people working, and you can't see, like, you know what I'm saying? That right there, red flag. People always talk about all these red flags. Red flags, SP. I'm not stupid. Let me tell you something. You can tell me one thing, and I believe it, and I look at it and everything, and I do. But in time, I start thinking, okay, if this is my child, but you parked across, why would you park across those doors? Why would you park across those doors like that? That wasn't attracting business. If you're so worried about your brother making his money, why would you park across where nobody can get in, nobody can get out, nobody can see what y'all doing? And there's a big old parking lot around there. If he's just looking at your car, he's not going to work on your car. Why are you parked across the business where nobody really sees that there's a whole bunch of work going on in there? You guys, I just, And yeah, she knows more, because if she did know more, when she said, do you want me to tell you? They did not want her to tell us some other stuff. She said, I'll tell you why. It ain't. And then they came back and they asked her. They said, is it something you know, or is it something you've seen? And then she was like, I know. They say, did Jarvis tell you? She go, no. Well, then you don't know. If Jarvis didn't tell you, they trying to think, what do you know? So they're going to question her some more. So, they were probably parked on either side of the doors in Detroit. That's usually paved gaps between the sidewalk and the curb at the car shop that serves as parking spots. Hip hop, let me tell you something. This I be wondering where all the people who has all their cars. Well, here's the thing, hip hop. Here's the thing. Whether you're in Detroit, New York, Chicago, Wisconsin, Washington, D.C., business is business. Right? You agree with me, hip hop in history? You agree with me? And people, the way that shop was built, there was definitely room to park else instead of just right across from both doors. See? Yeah. Let me tell you something. I, myself, businesswoman, will not let somebody park across my doors, blocking the business where nobody can see the sign, nobody can see I'm working, nobody can see what I got for sale or what I'm doing. I'm not going to let somebody do that. And I'm going to tell you right now, yes, Miss Hip Hop, like you said, that's not good. It's not good for business. Let me tell you what just happened just yesterday. So I'm going down the street and I said, I'm going to go get me an oil change at Jiffy Lube. Right? Ain't no way in the world Jiffy Lube is going to let you park right in front of their doors. Like you can park like as you come in, like, so you can see them working or whatever to the side or something. But right across their door, their two doors, and sit there, they're not going to let you do that. That is for us to believe this is what we do because we're in Detroit. No, that's not what you do because you're in Detroit, you in Alabama, you in Chicago, you in whatever. You don't do that. You're right. It's not good for business. They don't let you do that. So when she said that's how she was parked, and you wasn't even there for work, you were there just for them to take a look at your car. It makes me think. So anyway, I went to Jiffy Lube, and when I pulled in, they were like, "Park over here, ma'am." You know what I'm saying? And I parked right where they told me to park. They don't want me to park. Girl, if you guys want me to even show you, just let me go. It's just right up the street. I would get off this live right now, go live, go to Jiffy Lube. I'm going to pull up. I'm going to park right across both of their bays. I'm going to just park my car there and I'm going to get out the car. You guys want me to do that? And then, and try to sit there for 2.5 hours. They will call the police. She said, I just know the area. There's extra space to park to not block the doors. Exactly. That's why I'm thinking that we're parked on opposite sides of the driveway. That's why I'm thinking that we're parked on opposite sides of the driveway. No, Hip Hop. She didn't park in the driving area. She said she parked across both of the bays facing the east. She's right in front of both of the bays facing the east. And his truck is facing her car across. They would be telling me to move. That's what they would tell me to do. They'd be like, ma'am, no, you can't. You park, you can park anywhere else, but you cannot park across these two bays. We got cars coming in. We got cars coming out. Look, the bays that they work at, you can't drive all the way through. You can only drive in, and then that's where they do the work, and then you have to back out. And remember, they told her to move the car one time. She moved the car, and what did she say she did after she moved the car out the way for somebody to come in or get out? She said one time they told her to move the car. She said she pulled right back to the spot where she was at. You know what? I'm going to tell y'all this. And I may be running it, but I'm just going to say, I know y'all believe me because you know what? I'm not going to lie. And when I listen to what people say, and the common sense doesn't what they saying to me, even though, I wanted to believe that. She said, I'm from Detroit. My baby mama lives in that area, and I used to work not far from there. Okay. I'm going to tell you something. It's more to that story. Now, are we ever going to hear the full truth of the story? I don't believe so. Why? We're not. Because you know what? Because they need the testimony of King, the sister, but I don't believe it. I'm just being honest with you. I don't believe it. I'm not, at first, when I first heard it, I kind of just thought, it's just weird to me. It's just weird. You guys want to know something? Check this out. We're never. Let me share this with you. You guys, let me share this with you. Are you guys ready for this? I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I don't care. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it right now. You guys want to hear? Put a 1 in the chat. We got 37 people in here. Whether you believe me or not, just put a 1 in the chat. But I'm gonna have some proof. I'm gonna have some proof. You want to hear something? You want to hear something? Leisure lady said, yeah. You want to hear something? I at least got to have 10 ones in the chat. I'll tell you something you don't know. I need to have 10 ones. I only got 3. There's 36 people in here. I'll make a phone call right now. I'll make a phone call, let you hear something. If you really want to hear something. I'm telling y'all. I'm telling you guys because you're not listening. We got Lisa Calhoun, Leisure, Nichelle. That's 3. We got Lisa Calhoun again. But we got Jacqueline, that's 4. We got Freddie, that's 5. That's only but 5. He made them watch so they could do it too. That's 5. I'm just telling y'all. I know y'all want to know. She said, I want to hear it. You want to hear it? You want to hear something? You want to hear some truth? Do you want to hear some truth? I need to. Come on, y'all. Come on. Because you know what? Let's tell the truth. Diesel, right here. Diesel, they want to hear the truth? Speak. Speak, boy. Diesel, speak. 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 Tell them you mean it. Speak. Speak. Speak louder. Can y'all handle it? If I told you the truth, can y'all handle it? Jacqueline Blackwell says yes. Can y'all handle the truth? Okay. Master, said yes. Okay, she got a 1. Let me count, see how many 1s we got. We got Master 1. Master 1 done gave us 10 1s. Sanja Watts in here done gave us a 1. She said, let me hear it. You want to hear the truth? Okay, let me make a phone call. She said, of course, let me hear it. Let me hear it. Okay. Okay. You can handle the truth? I'm going to tell you. She said, talk, girl. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to call my girlfriend up.
Hello.
Hey, Zen.
Huh?
We live.
Okay. I know. Hold on, I'm on the other phone. Let me call you. Let me get off the other call and I'll come back. Okay?
All right. She got me on hold. She said, I was first, SP. You was first.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Sonya said she first. Okay. You got to turn it down.
I turned it off.
Now, Zan, let's tell some truth here. Let's tell the truth. Okay?
Okay.
Did we or not already make contact with Jarvis' sister?
Oh, yes.
Okay?
You had a very long conversation with me.
A very long conversation with the sis. Because I don't care if she ever talks to me again. I'm telling the truth right now. What did you get out of that conversation? I mean, what did you get? I mean, because you were there. You know, I called you in the middle of the conversation.
Right. So, based on what she said, since she did this because she realized that this was the child, since she went to King, she said that she told King she had never seen a child up here except for her nieces. And King told her that that was Naziah. And that then she called Shannon and asked Shannon for Shannon Jones' information, and she contacted them. She said she didn't remember the date exactly, but that she believed that she was there the day that Naziah was there. And they were able to take her phone and pull up the date and confirm that she was there, and that obviously what she said was correct, that she did see Naziah. And the way that she was telling you, it was like she was doing it because that was the right thing to do.
Because that was the right thing to do. So when I got into it with, I can't remember the guy's name, and we were like, no, you got the wrong time and place, and he said it was this street, and I said no, it was not, and I said I bet you there was a reason why I knew, because I talked to her for about almost 6 hours. I talked to her like 6 freaking hours. And this woman, it was good. It was a good conversation.
Yeah.
It was totally respectable. I had to keep recording, whatever. I can decipher it, but I don't want to. I can. I don't want to. Because I wanted to believe her. You know?
Right.
I still want to believe her. But it just don't make sense to me.
What doesn't make sense?
Parking across those doors like that. Saying you'd never seen this child's face. And the way that they know you know something. Because when they went in the back room and was talking, and I was like, what is it that she knows that she's not saying? But then the time that you knew, here's the thing that doesn't make sense, Zan. When King went to jail on the 13th, and then the time that she got in touch with Shannon was like the 26th. Well, when King went to jail, you went up there to the shop and asked King, oh, I didn't see no other kids here but my nieces, except that one girl. And King said, that was Naziah. You knew right then. That was Naziah. Why did she not turn it in right then?
I didn't realize there was a gap of time. I thought she contacted Shannon immediately.
Well, why did she not? She contacted Shannon Jones on like the 26th.
But when did she contact Shannon Harris?
On
did she say she contacted Shannon Harris?
The 25th or the 26th of February. Remember, King went to jail on the 13th. Okay, King got right out of jail because, see, they didn't, they were just questioning him. And he was back at the shop. She went to the shop and she questioned King. And King said that was Naziah. And that wasn't the end of the conversation. They probably had to chit chat and talk.
Right.
Then she still did not contact Shannon. Then she said she contacted Shannon after talking to one of the baby's mothers. First of all, how did you know?
Well, didn't she say that the whole reason that she went to talk to King was based on something that happened on the 14th?
No.
Remember that? Because I kept asking you what happened on the 14th that made her think that.
That's what she said in court. But then when I asked her what happened, she said it wasn't what we thought it was. It wasn't like that. It wasn't what we thought it was.
But she didn't say what it was?
She didn't say what it was. She didn't say what it was. She said...
See, I didn't realize that there was a gap, SP.
Yeah, it's a gap in there.
You're telling me something that I didn't know.
It was a gap in there. Yeah, it's a big gap in there from the time King got arrested. Because remember, King said they came to the shop and picked him up.
Right.
Okay, how do you know that they picked King up? How would she know?
Oh, okay.
How would she would have known they picked King up?
Maybe they're close.
But remember, she said dang, Diesel said, let me out. I want to see what's going on. She wanted to speak. Remember, she said she wanted to speak to King. And so she went to King after he got out to ask him. And she said she didn't ask him a question, which, there had to been a question, right?
Right.
She said there was no other girls here other than my nieces. That's how she put it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's how she put it. And then she said, and King said, except that one girl that one day. And then she said, King said, that was Naziah. That was Naziah. That was Naziah. Now, here's the thing. if I was a police, no, just say for instance, you was Naziah's mother. Just say for instance, you was Naziah's mother, and somebody told you that they were there, and then they go to King and say, wasn't no other girls there but that one girl that one day, and then they say, well, that was Naziah. Why did you not get in touch with the police right then when King just told you that was Naziah? That's the little girl.
I was under the impression that she did. I'm just learning now there was a gap in there.
She didn't get in contact with Shannon Jones until the 25th or 26th. If you was gonna do
she didn't call, because I would think if there was a gap, it was on Shannon Harris. But you're telling me she didn't even call Shannon Harris until there was a gap between when she knew the truth and when she contacted Shannon Harris?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. That is questionable. I mean, maybe you had to think about it, because you're putting your brother away. You know that by saying that, it's going to make your brother look guilty. Especially the fact that he lied to you.
But she said she called Shannon Harris, and she didn't tell Shannon Harris. She just said, why? But she says, who's the, can you give me the phone number to the investigator over the Naziah's case? And then Shannon Harris called Shannon Jones and told her that Jarvis's sister wanted to speak to her.
Right.
And
now,
so,
don't you think it's weird that Shannon didn't say, why do you need to talk to her?
Yeah, she said she didn't tell Shannon Harris what she had to say.
Right.
And then Shannon called her back and gave her the phone number. And then she called Shannon Jones, and Shannon Jones said, can you come in the morning? And whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop.
But you're telling me that there was a gap in between there, almost a 10-day gap.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know about that, SP. I wasn't aware of that, because that is suspect. And the only thing I would say, the only reason I could think of is because you know that once you tell the attorneys that it's going to make your brother look bad, and you really wanted to pray on that or whatever, because you know that's going to send your brother back to jail. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. That would be my only reason for hesitating.
But if you've seen, if you just trying to do the right thing, why would you wait? And it's February the 15th, February the 16th,
why you would wait.
February the 17th, February the 18th, February the 19th, February the 20th, the 21st, the 22nd, the 23rd, the 24th, the 25th, the 26th. Why would you wait if you're doing the right thing? And you know,
I can't answer that.
You know you seen this child alive at your brother's shop. If you're not involved and you didn't have nothing to do with it and you don't really know what happened, but you seen her, why would you not, once you found out with King that is the same little girl that they've been looking for, why would you not go tell him?
Say something immediately.
So you know, she did make it seem like, you know, I didn't have to tell them I was there. They wouldn't know. Yeah, they would have known you were there, because King was going. You didn't know if King told him or not. That's what it is. You did not know if King told them or not. And if they start getting everybody phones and seeing where they were at, and your name popped up, and they see that you were there,
right, then you're going to be part of the case.
And you didn't say something. That's why you had to say something. You didn't say something because you were doing the right thing. I don't believe. You waited too long. And like sometimes, and me, we find ourselves in bad situations, and you either do the right thing or don't do the right thing. If you don't do the right thing and time passes, then there's a reason. Yeah, there's a reason why you say, like I was just in a situation where, a friend came to me and was like, do this, do that. And I was like, now I went to go do the right thing. But when I got there, other stuff happened. So I was like, skip it. They was like, you still got time. I'm like, yeah, I still got time, but I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to go, because other things, that's just the way it is. Other things can come out that I didn't do it in a timely manner. There's a reason why I didn't do it in a timely manner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
now I definitely get what you're saying. Yeah.
I didn't do it in a timely manner. Now I could be subjected to something that I just don't even want to deal with because I knew better. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, I wanted to believe her. I did. And I believed it for a while. Not saying I just, but as time, and I start looking at the time and everything, I'm like, if I had not ever spoken to her, this is how I would feel, like the way I feel. But I did.
Right.
And she didn't give me nothing to say that she was a part of anything. You guys don't get me wrong. She definitely didn't give me that. It's just the idea of, when I started seeing like she's doing this because it's the right thing to do. And then people were coming on talking about, I said, oh, I didn't see that she mouthed the word, I love you to him.
Right.
That changed a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because you're sending somebody to prison because you're saying that the child was there. It ain't just King's word or whatever. And you're trying to let us know that the child was alive at that particular time. But I'm not understanding why you parked the way you parked, why you didn't tell somebody. Because just think this, Zan. What if she would have went?
Parking, I always thought that the parking was because both bays were full.
So park opposite from each other, but blocking the door. But there's no way in and out other than you got to move for them to get the cars in and out. But you're parked right up.
I always thought that both bays were already full.
Yeah.
I always thought that the Jaguar was in a bay and Jarvis' truck was in a bay.
No, she said Jarvis's truck was in front of her.
Oh, but it wasn't in a bay.
No, it wasn't in a bay.
Oh, okay.
Remember when they left for Issiani, they pulled it in the bay then.
Because they weren't taking it.
Because remember, King said that the girl ran the car out of gas. And remember, they said they had to push the car to the filling station and get gas. Why she didn't say nothing about pushing the car to the filling station?
Well, was she there up until they went to Ypsilanti?
Did she what?
Was she there up until the time that they went to Ypsilanti?
Yeah.
Or was she?
Yeah. Because by the time she left like at 5:58, just a little bit before 6 o'clock. Just a little bit before 6 o'clock. And it was basically 2 hours she was there. That's when they got on the road and they were headed to Ypsilanti.
Okay.
Yolanda says she left at 6:30. She didn't leave at 6:30. Yolanda. She did not leave at 6:30. Yolanda, see, I think that's how we got our time off. We thought she left about 6:30, but remember they were already on the road at 6:38. But she didn't leave at 6:30. If you look at her timeline that she was there at the shop, it was just a little bit before 6 when she left.
Okay. Yeah, see, I didn't realize that. That's cool.
Yeah. Yolanda, where'd you get 6:30 at? Because I think that was the beginning. We thought that she was there from 4 to 6:30. But when they showed her timeline on her phone, it wasn't 6:30. No, it was not 6:30. Yeah. And remember, they didn't even fix her car. He just looked at her car. And she kept telling him she didn't ask her brother to fix her car, to look at her car.
Okay. Just so she knew what was wrong with it.
She could have said, Yolanda saying, I thought she said 6:30. She could have said 6:30, but remember, they were already on the road and already in, on the highway, and it was like, what was it, 6:17, somewhere around there. No, she left, it was just like a little bit before 6. And we even added that in the equation. So I'm thinking if she would have contacted them, Zan, right after she contacted King, they would have probably looked around, there.
Around where?
Where they were at.
Shop?
Yeah.
For the body?
Yeah.
True, but did they go back and look around there?
They said that they did look in the shop, look around the shop, but they didn't go into waste management. They didn't go into the trash and all of that. The trash had already been picked up January. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm pretty sure Shannon Jones was like, here I go again. You know what I mean? Because you do get tired of looking in the trash. And
true. But that's your job. Even if you're tired of it.
Yeah.
You have to rule out every possible place.
Yeah, but I don't think they wanted to look in the trash. I think if they start look, like once she came up missing and they got King and then they got the phone, because remember they got the phone, then they got King, and then the sister contacted him and said, hey, I think I was there. I think I was there that day. You know good and well you was there that day, because King, you don't know if King King told you that was Naziah. So you sitting there thinking to yourself, well, I better say something, because if King say I was there, which well, here's the thing. What if she wouldn't have never said nothing?
like you said, if King says that Jarvis' sister was there, or if Jarvis threw her in the mix as an alibi, either way, they would ask her, why didn't you come forward? You see what I'm saying?
So tell me this. So Janiyah come up missing on January, what was it, the 7th or the 9th? I think it's the 9th or the 7th.
Naziah?
Yeah.
Or Janiyah?
Naziah.
Okay, so they're saying, or initially they said the 9th, although now I'm understanding that they're questioning if that's the day she came up missing. That's just the day she didn't come home, but is that the day that something occurred? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just because she didn't come home that night, does that mean that something had already happened to her?
Well,
or did he have her somewhere?
Well, what about this? Well, they had her making that last post at school.
And that was on the 9th, right?
Right.
Even though the school has her marked as present on the 10th.
Right. See, and then they done use all these cars, but exactly, Zena. Did they even check the sister's car? And remember,
probably not.
King said he drove his 300, but the one girl in Islandi said that he
drove a truck.
He drove a truck.
So were all these vehicles checked?
Yeah.
Better yet, was the red Honda checked? I mean, not the Honda, the red Jaguar checked.
Yeah. Was there even a red Jag? See, when they get ready to go to court in October, the people that you think, that, like I said, it's really almost like it's not even hard to understand. Like some people got mad when, I contacted Nay. And how did you contact Nay? And Nay sitting there talking about, I wanted to have his baby and we had sex and he made me feel good and never bought me dinner and all this other stuff. And then Nay just disappeared. And then we trying to figure out, okay, how is he calling these other people and everything? Well, that was Nay. Nay was helping him call these other people, telling them, and he was telling them to move this and don't drive your mama's car and all this other stuff. And they sitting there acting like she don't understand. These chicks get on my nerves. All of them, they get on my nerves. They just, you know what? I don't care how ugly I am. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. I'm not going to sit there and she talking about she gonna try to get him to say something. Girl, he don't even like you.
For real. But I think he does. Jarvis had a distinct type. And it was the type that he could manipulate because their self-esteem was low.
Right.
And they feel happy just to have a man that looks like Jarvis.
Right. Cause and people get mad, but the truth is the truth. He's not a bad looking character. I don't like light skin. I don't like thin. I like big and chunky, and I like dark. But I mean, you gotta have some kind of physical attraction. But nevertheless, you know what Shannon said? And Shannon Jones, not Shannon Harris. Shannon Jones said that makes all the sense. He got close to these women that had kids or will have kids. He wasn't really interested in the women.
Right.
And here's the thing. If you even...
But now think about this. Shannon Harris, did Shannon Harris have kids before he got with her?
No.
And neither did they.
Exactly. But Shannon was around people that had kids.
True.
And Shannon had a low self-esteem.
Right. She fell right into the mix, her and, because didn't she meet him through the sister?
Marquita?
Her name is. Yeah, her. I can never remember her name.
Yeah, that was the sister. Yeah, Marquita, and then Marquita met him on some kind of app. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So again, somebody has very low self-esteem and feels proud. You know what I'm saying? These women, just like Shannon Harris, she's proud that he's her kid's father. And all her kids have the same father. She's proud of that.
Yeah.
Because these women feel like they got a chance. And, you know, because of his looks and the way they feel like he carries himself or whatnot. And just like we were talking earlier, I don't know if you remember our earlier conversation, and I said, if Shannon was concerned about losing Jarvis or having to compete with other women for him, she might not mind sacrificing her niece to have one up on the other people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you might feel like, oh, well, my niece just going to be just like her sister anyway. So if I got to sacrifice that he wants to sleep with her just so I can keep him around, then so be it.
That's like, you talking about the sisters sleeping with the same man?
No, I'm talking about what if, and just think about this, in order to keep the man that you got and not have to worry about losing him to somebody else, you're willing to sacrifice, put up with whatever so that you don't lose him. So what if, remember how we were talking about they already knew, according to the little girl, Brittany, I think it was, they were already aware that he was doing something inappropriate.
You mean Brooklyn?
Brooklyn, that's right.
Yeah.
Brooklyn. So what if they were aware that he was messing with Naziah, but Shannon's way to keep him and not have to compete with the other women out there was to put up with the fact that he was molesting her niece, because then that gives him more reason to want to be around her and her, than, to go to another woman. Well, she was willing to sacrifice her niece so that he wouldn't go out and sleep with another woman.
Right.
Using Naziah as the pawn.
Well, not only Naziah, but Janiyah too. Girl, he done had. That's his own daughter, the baby, not the older child. Which, trust me, that's gonna be a part of the case also.
Right.
Yeah. Jarvis was. I think he just knew it was going to be a matter of time. And something that the young man that was in our channel said about he's a pedophile. He's not a killer. He's a pedophile.
And he's a pedophile, but I would love to talk to Jarvis just one time, because there's something about Jarvis that reminds me of Nature Boy, Eligio.
And what's that?
Something about him. Because Eligio had this belief, and this is from personal conversations that we had. He had this belief, he read, because he's very intelligent, and he read that the way in China and some of these other countries that the families make these royal bloodlines is because the man has children by several women, and then you make these children together, like a brother from here and a sister from this woman, and now they mate, and their offspring is still the same bloodline as the original bloodline, but that's how they expand.
But then your kid come out.
Had a belief. No, not always.
Not always, but most of the time, the kids come out messed up.
Not when everybody different mothers. Not when everybody different mothers.
Well,
they normally don't, because the mother holds the mitochondrial gene. So now, if they have the same mother and father, and they mate, then you have you open up the probability of disabilities and stuff. But when it's a different mother and just the same father, the only thing that you're doing is reproducing that original bloodline. And he can go, Nature Boy used to be able to go real deep into it, because that was one of his reasons for wanting several wives, is because he wanted to create his own bloodline and strengthen it.
That's horrible.
And so I'm wondering if Jarvis thought like that. Just the fact that he was touching on his own kids, his own biological kids, and the kids that are testifying, the ones that are his. But, I'm wondering if he's trying to reproduce within his own bloodline. Because he's been to jail before, and I always thought that was a jail mentality, trying to produce your own bloodline. And he's got so many kids by so many women, and he can just keep expanding and expanding and expanding in his mind, his bloodline.
Yeah, but if you have a kid by your daughter, that child will come out deformed.
Right. But I feel like that he feels as if these are his. These females are his females.
You think that's what he thinks?
That's why I said I would love to have a conversation with him without talking about where's Naziah and any of that. I just want to know where his head is at. Because to continue to want to mess with your own offspring, there's something in your mind. There's a reason for that. Because Jarvis is not a slow person. He's fairly intelligent. Now, he's not really the criminal that he thinks he is. But he's not dumb either. And I'm willing to bet you that he's got some kind of mixed up, crazy belief that the more children he possesses, leaves him legacy. And the more children that his children produce, you know what I'm saying? You're creating your own bloodline, your own legacy. And I'm almost 100. I won't say 100, but I'm about 75% sure that some kind of way, in some mixed up, crazy way, he's thinking in that manner. That's why you're having all these kids.
Girl, I could not. No. I just, this world is coming to a place where women are now coming out saying that, they fathered their father or their stepfather's child, and and now they embarrass about it. You know what I'm saying? They're embarrassed about it.
Right.
And
but don't get embarrassed now.
Like, no, you should tell somebody that, whether it's your father, your stepfather or something, like, no, it's not right for you to be touching me and getting off on it and thinking you're cuter than mama or cuter than mother-in-law or whatever. Like, girl, there was this case, and and it's weird to me, but, and I don't live on this side of town, on the side of town it happened, but there was this one guy, he shot his own father, and it happened on Grove Street. I'll probably try to look it up, but he found out that his girlfriend was having sex with his dad, and she had a child that he was fathering. Well, when they found out that the child was not his but his father's child, girl, that man lost it and went and killed his own dad.
Now, see, I was just reading a case a couple of weeks ago where a man found out that he had several kids, and not one of them was his. They were all either his father's or his brother's.
Back in the days, in the Bible times, stuff like that happened all the time, where the grandfather was the father, and the brother was the father, and they would try to make it seem like that's how King David got in there with Bathsheba and all of that, trying to put it off as somebody else's kid. But I don't see him. I don't see Jarvis taking this girl out, unliving her, because she had his child. I mean, she was pregnant. It's got to be more to the situation than that. It just did. They're not going to make it into more, because they're trying to build a case about his sexuality with these young girls.
Right.
But it is becoming common now that it's so many women. Okay, they say it's for every man, it's like 7 women. So
really?
Yeah. In the United States, it's like it's 7 women to 1 man. So women are now either going with the same sex partner, or they're going into these relationships with men that can have as many women as they want.
Right.
And now these men are not even looking at the women no more. They don't even want the women no more. They want the kids. They want the babies. They want something that nobody's ever touched. That's their desire now. They can have many relationships as they want, but they don't want the relationship with a grown woman no more. Because a grown woman, she done been with this, she done been with that. They want something nobody's ever touched. They want to be the first. They feel like that's the ultimate now. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's crazy. But you know, and I'll say this, I'm glad my kids are grown. I'm glad I don't have no granddaughters. I only got grandsons. I hate it, but this is how the new world is. And everybody's like, okay, this is a conversation me and my husband had. And I told my husband this because, I went and I met this woman, she was giving me this conversation about work or whatever. And anyway, when she comes out of her office, and it's a white woman. She's white. She's Caucasian. She had these big old eyelashes on. I mean, they was really huge. They was like probably about a good inch two in length. And I just looked at her and I was like, oh, okay. And I told my husband and I said, back in the day when we seen women with these big eyelashes like that and all this color in her makeup and the skinny pants on or whatever, the skirts or whatever, we looked at them as prostitutes. We knew that was what a prostitute looked like, right?
Right.
But now you go to these, yeah, you would think you see this woman. Just think you at the store as a child, and you see this woman with these big old eyelashes and the hair all over her face, and these, and some leggings on and some high heels on. You think she's a call woman. She's a woman of the night. She's a prostitute. But now you see our kids dressed like that. You see these little girls on TikTok, and they be having the eyelashes, and they be like 5, 10 years old, and they batting their eyes, and they going to go get their nails done. At first, it was just let's make sure they had a phone, so if they got in trouble, they can contact us. Now, the funny thing about the whole situation is we keep giving excuses why the kids need to have a phone, why they can wear leggings, why they going to go get their nails done, why they having these big eyelashes. Now, guess what? The kids ain't even thinking about tracks no more. They're wearing wigs. They're wearing full women wigs. Women, let me tell you something. Older women wore wigs. When I was young, you didn't see a young girl 10, 20, 30 years old wearing a wig. You would see an older woman wearing a wig. But now, they got these lace fronts and a 15-year-old to wear a wig in a minute. I'll be like, what the heck is going on? Because guess what? They don't look like young girls no more. They look like grown women. They look like grown women. And we're like, okay, why are you getting your nails done? It's okay to get them painted, it's okay. But no, you're getting a full getting a whole full what they call it, tips and all of that. They want what they see the adults are doing. They want that. You know what I'm saying? The girls are now wanting that. And you can't even get away with it. You can't get away from it because now the young girls are looking like older women. Girl, they got no respect. Cuss you out in a minute. Tell you to go sit down, mind your business. Girl, they got a phone in their hand. You know what I'm saying? They don't even know how to do their own hair because they never had to do it. And it's just the truth. And I'm not saying, when you have a young lady being 13, 12, 11, they get their nails done. This is why, when did you let your daughter start wearing makeup? Yeah. When did you let your daughter start wearing makeup?
When she was 18 and out of my house.
See what I'm saying? I told my daughters the same thing. I was like, okay, well, you can't be wearing makeup. I know you want to play in makeup, but you can't be going out the house wearing makeup. Not gonna
Now, I
go.
do take that back. She was the homecoming queen, and on that evening, because they had all kinds of pictures and stuff had to be taken, I allowed her to have a makeup, somebody come and make her face up, and for homecoming, because she was a homecoming queen. And I allowed her to have her face made up for that. Other
Okay.
than that, you not wearing no makeup. You're not that grown in my house.
Right. Okay, I want you. Okay, I've got somebody on here. Her name is Jacqueline Blackwell. She says, I can't believe they are now wearing wigs and weaves now. Can you answer that question? Do you think the teenagers are wearing wigs and weaves?
Oh, yeah.
And it ain't a little bit of them. It's a whole bunch of them, like 90% of them, right?
Right.
If they not wearing it, they're being, girl. Huh.
But see, this is the thing. Back in our day,
Yeah.
there were kids that might have wore wigs that we didn't know about because they had alopecia or medical situations, and mom would slap an old grandma wig on them. Nothing all sexual or sensual. Just a old grandma wig with a little bit of hair, so that you didn't see their medical problem. But now the kids are only doing what they see.
Right.
These young girls, they see their mom and hell, their grandma wearing wigs.
And they don't see nothing wrong with
it. Right. That's the only examples that they have. And so, of course, if mom and grandma's doing it, and then when they want to get you pretty, the first thing they want to do is add some hair. Well, I'm gonna have so and so add a little hair to your back or a little hair to your front. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Usually, it's the parents that are even the ones suggesting that.
Start doing it. Yeah.
So I can't blame the kids for something that you learned from your elder.
Yeah. Yeah. But see, the thing about it, what happens is, and I don't think that the adult women knew that once you start getting the nails done, getting the hair, putting a little bit of hair, now they want a whole bunch of hair. Now they're wearing the lipstick, and then they're getting the eyelashes. It's just slowly but surely you're making them into a woman instead of
too soon.
Yeah. And when they put these clothes and wear the eyelashes on, they start acting differently. Like a sexual spirit is in them. It's almost like drinking alcohol. It's nothing wrong. Like, alcohol is not against the law. It is against the law for kids to drink alcohol. So there's certain things that should have stayed in the adult, way of dressing and things of that nature, that we have let it bleed into letting our kids do it. And now that when the kids are start acting a certain way, talking to men, talking the way they think they should talk, because when we look at how Naziah was talking to Jarvis, she was talking to him like a grown woman. And how does she know to talk to him that way? Because
that's all she's seen.
That's all she's seen and heard. How the other women would talk. Oh, you want an F? Oh, I'm gonna give you some of my P and da 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 da. Because influence of the internet, influence of the family, the women that surround you. Them women didn't teach Naziah love. They was teaching Naziah how to be a, you know what,
Right.
What do you think?
Oh yeah, I like I said, I'm a firm believer that in Shannon and Marquita's mind, Naziah was going to be just like Lady.
Mm.
And so they didn't really care that she was sexually active young. Because for real, they were sexually active young.
Remember what they said when she first came up missing? Oh, she's just out with some older boy. Boy? She wasn't with no boy. She was with a grown man. And y'all didn't feel like y'all should go look for her?
And a lot of that is grandma's fault.
Yeah. And she didn't see it coming. It's never, when a child come up missing, it's never, oh, it just happened one day. Oh, it took a lot. It took a lot for her to come up missing. It took a lot of people turning their heads, letting things happen. Just letting things happen. All these red flags. She didn't act like, oh, that would have been a red flag. Girl, shut up about a red flag. You the red flag. You, your sister, your mom, y'all are the red flag. Y'all shouldn't have had no kids. Shouldn't have been able to adopt kids. Shouldn't have been able to foster kids. Shouldn't have been around kids.
Exactly.
But like I was saying about the alcohol, once you ingest the alcohol, you're taking on a spirit. You're taking on a spirit. And you start feeling some kind of way and loose, and they call alcohol the liquid courage. That's just like when you put on some fake eyelashes, some of them bling bling eyelashes, and get you some leggings on and tie it up in the front, or wear a half shirt, or put on you some high heel shoes, and you're walking outside and your parents don't care. It's a spirit. And we're letting our kids play around with these spirits until somebody say they cute. Oh, you're cute. Anyway.
Hold on, it's my doctor. Hold on.
All right. Anyway, you guys, I just wanted you guys to know that there comes in a lot of thinking and conversations when we're looking for what happened, what's the truth, Zena, I was the same way. I did never see young people wear them either. And I'm not saying that Naziah is wrong, because this is how she was raised. I'm just being honest with you guys. This is how she was raised. And so that's why she acted the way that she acted. She didn't act it. Some people want to say that Naziah acted fast. That is no, that's not true. She didn't act fast. She was already put. She act like she knew, because that's all she knew. How she talked to Jarvis is how she heard Shannon and Marquita talk to Jarvis, and how the grandmother talked to Jarvis, and how other women talked to Jarvis. Yeah. She seen it. That's all she seen. So she'd be like, yeah, where do you want to do it at? And I'm gonna make love to you, and we're gonna F. And we'd be like, oh my God, did that young girl just say, let's F? We're like, oh my. The first thing we do think, oh man, she fast. She not fast. She not fast. It's just that's her life. That's all she knows.
Well,
she done heard.
If you think back to the grandma or both of the aunties, you never see in any of those pictures anybody hugging a kid,
Exactly.
embracing a child. So this might be the only affection that this little girl was able to receive.
Right.
Was from Jarvis.
And she's seeing that she can get a reaction out of Jarvis by talking the way that they would talk to him. Yeah. I guarantee you, Shannon lay on the bed, sitting there talking about Jarvis, and I bet you Naziah just laid there and listened and sit there. Just listen to the whole conversation.
Right.
Freddie said these young girls don't even know how to bathe properly. That's because guess what? Nobody taught them. You can't blame. And you know what's so sad about this whole situation? Naziah's mother already was rejected because, when she got older, she had the baby by an older man, didn't have no way to take care of the baby,
right.
Getting on drugs,
and
he was married. Nobody didn't tell her that, no. What Annette just do? Oh, I'm gonna just, every kid you get, I'm gonna just take the kid in and get a check. Annette didn't care as long as she didn't have to go out and work. Didn't you hear Witch Cullum say she didn't even know how to go buy a car? Remember?
No, who said that?
Kenya said she took her out to go buy a car. She didn't even know how to go buy a car.
Who, Annette?
Annette.
I missed that.
Annette, yeah, Kenya said she took Annette to go buy her first car. Her first car, but she was living in a house? Girl. And, and I'm going to get off of here, but, the word.
And even though she lived in a house, it probably wasn't her house. You were renting.
Right.
And you probably didn't have money to really buy a car until you started taking care of all those foster kids.
Exactly. And she was making money.
Right.
And she just felt like, shoot, what kind of, like, these girls don't even know how to really work a job. I mean, and their job is probably, probably the minimum job because they didn't do nothing else. You know? Shannon's in the nursing field. Did you know that?
No, I knew she was in the medical field, but I didn't know she was in the nursing field.
Well, a CNA.
Oh, okay.
Girl, just horrible. Horrible. So, they always look for a man to, and then they all just try to keep the man around. I just hate that this little girl came up missing. I hate it with a passion. I mean, I guess it had to be somebody, but I just think, even when people saying they doing the right thing, I don't believe them. Not when it comes to this, because this didn't have to happen. Like, and people thinking
this is definitely a good show of timeline, a good show of neglect.
Well, that's why I was telling everybody. I said it a long time ago, like, they put her probably in a dumpster. They didn't bury her. They didn't throw her in the lake or the river or anything. She's probably in a landing field. I did not know that Shannon Jones did not look in the landing field. But, you know, we're all waiting, thinking that, oh, you know, it's going to be a whole bunch. They're going to stick on their lives. I hope the rest of them go to jail too. But not just because they are part of her life. I hope the ones, like, if Jarvis's sister is telling the truth, God bless her. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Really, I'm serious. If she's telling the truth, like, you know, but why would you not, when you found out that was Naziah, why did you not immediately tell them, wow, hey, let me call them up? You know what I'm saying? You didn't even have to call Shannon. You could have just called the police and said, hey, on the Naziah case or whatever. Even if you didn't even know what to do, you could have just said, you know, I might know something about the girl that went missing. It would have gave them, it still would have been within, you know what I'm saying, like 30, 40 days.
Right.
But I think the reason why she told them is because they might have cameras of her car. King knew that she was there and seen Naziah. So that's why you said something. So I don't think she would have came out and just said, hey, I seen this little girl. But I think she already knew she seen the little girl. You know how when people be acting like they didn't know? No, you knew. You knew.
Right.
Until they picked up King, that's when whistles and bells came out of your head and you had to go hear what King had to say. You knew. All right, I'm going to get off of here.
All right, SP.
I'll call you later.
You have a good evening. Okay.
All right.
Good night, family.
Said good night, you guys. I just think when people, you know, like, and here's the thing, and people thinking, you know, I'm not throwing nobody underneath the bus. I just think that, you know, this is serious. This is not, oh, you just lied on the application. This is not, oh, you forgot to put the milk in the refrigerator. This is more like, are you telling the truth or are you telling your truth just so you won't get in trouble? Or was there more to it, you guys? You guys understand what I'm saying? So October is going to be here in no time. Like I said, Jarvis is going to court on today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Jarvis is going to court Friday. We may not hear about it, but it's on the other cases, you guys. And I believe that some information was withheld. They did not want out. We will hear about it in October. But I believe it wasn't for the better reason, which I wanted to believe. And I had to think about it for a while. I just believe it's just still not given out as it's done now, you know, and we'll never know. We will never know. Well, you know, who said we, you know, anything can happen, but, you know, people that say they do the right thing for the right reason for this little girl, you know, I just don't believe them. I just don't believe people. I think they do it for their own selfish purposes. That's the reason why they do it. That's the reason why they do it. You know, I'm not going to throw nobody underneath the bus or anything. Like I said, you know, I had opportunity to speak with the young lady, you know, and she didn't say nothing that warned me of anything other than what she said on the stand, you know. But after, you know, just thinking, I just believe what I believe. Okay, you guys, I'm going to get off of here. Good night. Make sure you hit the like button. We'll come on and we'll conversate Friday. And if we hear anything, we will let you know.